Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Efren Luna with the Cultural Alliance of Long Beach and with Art, Music, and Culture. So today we have a painting class. This is a free online art class where we paint live. We've been doing this since the beginning of the pandemic, now just over a year. Follow along if you're ready. All you need is maybe a pencil, eraser to do our initial drawing, and then we're going to start painting. Acrylic paint is better, but use whatever materials you have. These classes are really easy for anyone to follow along. They're not necessarily for professionals, or these classes that I do online are designed so that anyone can follow along from home. So this is a bamboo plant. You don't have to have the same plant that I'm doing. You can do flowers, anything that's organic. I recommend something simple, or depending on your skill level. If you like, for instance, I chose something very simple. Bamboos are just green sticks, right? I'm gonna take liberty in adding things later on, but I'm gonna use this as inspiration. I do have a glass vase full of rocks with water. I may change the colors on these things to make it more interesting. Um, Definitely not gonna be a realistic painting, but it's gonna be inspired by something realistic, and we'll see how that goes along. The size of canvas that I'm using, 16 by 20. Nothing too big, but a little, just a little bigger than But whatever you have, right? Whatever you have is fine. Well, let me start drawing and see how it looks. All right, so I have my plant, all right, and it's basically, so I'm gonna do the vase. The vase is kind of like a diamond. So this is facing you, right? So right, if you do a visual X on any canvas. If you do a visual X, you can write it if you want, but if you were to mark an X, right, right where the two lines meet would be the center, right? You can put a little dot there just for reference. So I'm gonna make the vase just below the center. My vase is kind of like a square. It's actually a square shape vase. Um, so I'm gonna do like a triangle. I'm actually drawing backwards so you can see better. So we have a triangle. You want to draw kind of like a triangle, right? A diamond shape. A diamond shape. There you go. You can see that. 3 dimensional. The 3D form of a rectangle, right? So I'll leave that up. If you're following along, that's what you're painting. Um, the next thing is we're gonna fill in this little the rocks, right? We're gonna we're not gonna copy every single one of them. They're all they're all different, right? They're all different in size and in color and things like that. Um, but before I forget, actually, let me draw. I'm gonna draw a line, like it's gonna be the water line. So I'm gonna draw like another line, um, maybe just a little bit below, and I'll show you what that looks like. Then that one you can draw wavy because that's the water. Let's see. Let me turn that this way so you can see. So you can see that's my vase. It's not perfect, but you can see there's two lines at the top. This wavier line, or this line that's not a straight line, that's kind of like wavy. It's the water. I'm exaggerating. The line is not a straight line. It bends because of the rocks, the shapes of the rocks. But it's okay to exaggerate. Uh, you know, when we're taking liberty and creative expression. So this is your vase. The next thing is to draw all these little rocks. You're just gonna below. Make sure you draw the rocks below the water. So think of that wavy line as water, right? And just draw like little shapes, like circles, like pebbles. These are rocks. These are river rocks, like those little river rocks they sell at I don't know, the 99-cent store or whatever they sell them. For plants. Um, Try to avoid the rocks being too perfect or too round, because then they may seem like a little bit too fake. Just kind of, that's my mistake right here. They're kind of becoming too like just circles, right? You could do that too, but try to give them a little, like every shape. Try to make it different. It's okay if you have, because they're mostly round in a sense, but they're organic, so they're not perfectly like a perfect circle or a um, perfect circle. So it's something simple to follow along. So this is our vase. It is a clear vase. It's a lot of rocks. Don't worry if it's not too perfect. I did some overlapping here, and it kind of looks sloppy, but I'm not gonna worry about it. When you're drawing things like this that are not perfect, the paint, you can correct it with the paint. This is just to give you an idea, right? So you can see that this part of our shape is clear, right? This part is the inside looking from the top, and these two little areas are see-through. So there's two tiny spaces that are clear as well. And don't worry about it too much, but let me bring it up to the camera. So here's my vase, and now the reason why I chose this canvas vertical is because my plant is very long, it's very tall, and so I have like four bamboos that are taller, and then one that is small. And these are the kind that is tall. I guess there's a story about this bamboo. It almost died. I didn't know how to, I guess, care for it. Um, and then this little small one survived when I started noticing, and I learned a little bit about caring for the bamboos. This was gifted to us from the press telegram before they left the building. And these little branches are the ones that survive after I'd change the vase, clear the water, and started learning how to care for them. You have to take care of the plants as well as, to keep them alive and things like that. Indoor plants are definitely, every plant is different. All right, so I have one, two, three. I'm gonna add one more stem. It kind of look like a bunch of lines, but I'm trying to make them a little bit thick. Maybe, let's see. So you can see right there. One of them is small, and I have three that are a little bit tall or taller. I'll use a Sharpie once I'm done with the bamboo. Um, so these leaves are kind of droopy, especially the small one. I don't know if it's gonna make it, um, but we'll see. But it makes interesting shapes. Kind of like looks like miniature palm trees because it's kind of tall. So when you're drawing, just think of the shapes. Try not to think so much of the object that you're painting, because our mind tends to tell us that's not what it looks like, and our mind is like our biggest judge, and it turns a lot of people off because we have expectations, and that's not what this class is about. This is about having fun, enjoying the process. Having if you're not having fun, it's not it's not that's not the purpose. So don't worry. Like I said, it's not doesn't have to be too perfect. It may not even look like a bamboo plant, right? It may, if you're like a plant person, you may feel like, hey, there's something wrong with that plant. But if it looks beautiful as a painting, and we're not technical here. All right, so there's another part of the plant that's kind of like have a let's see. I'm gonna do a few more leaves. Let's see. So I'll show you in a minute, and then let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I have. Let's see. It's hard to see with this pencil. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just put it up for a little bit so you can see. And then I'm gonna do it with the Sharpie so you can see better. Let me put the lamp really close so you can see. All right. Now I'm gonna go over it with the Sharpie. And don't worry if yours does not look like mine. It's okay. In fact, it's better if you have your own, expression and interpretation. So we're just kind of inspiring each other, right? So think of shapes. This little square right here is a leaf, but for some reason, the view that I have gives me this like just square, because the leaf is going away from me, and it's really hard to interpret. I just went with simplicity and made it into a shape. So I'm doing the little sections. So ideally, you don't want to use a Sharpie at home. If you're comfortable with it, that's fine. But just understand that I'm using this for visual purposes because of the video. It's hard to see when I'm using pencil. But if you're at home, you can see your own pencil markings. That's what you want, because pencil is easier to erase. So this bamboo has like my bamboo in particular has like um, the edges were trimmed off because they were dying, and um, so I'm trying to care for this plant so it could survive. Um, all right, this leaf has a really nice organic movement, and it's not like it feels like the bamboo is it's kind of like, but it looks really nice. It doesn't look too healthy. I know it's if you're technical, but it looks really nice as far as like the painting, right? Or maybe it's just a different kind of bamboo. I'm not no expert, so whatever I say about the plant, don't worry about it. This is what we have. Okay, we're gonna paint this, um, and it should be fun. Oh, the other thing that I didn't do yet, let me do that. I'll do this. Um, I'll just go over the rocks. Um, over the rocks, back with the image facing you, so you can have a reference. All I'm doing is just tracing the shapes. So there's just a bunch of river rocks bunched around. There's the water line. All right, so I went over one of the sides, and I'm gonna do the other one. Again, I'm doing the Sharpie so you can see, but you're using pencil if you're watching at home. So this anybody can do. Anybody can do. Don't worry if yours is shorter, taller, wider. That's not important. That's actually good that yours is coming the way yours is coming out, and you're expressing your own. See, even right now, when I'm going over with the Sharpie, the rocks that I drew before, I'm not even copying them exactly. Like some of them I am because they have a nice natural shape, and others I'm just kind of redoing or so. And also the challenge is like to stop ourselves from being judgmental. That is one of the biggest things that holds us back when we're doing art. Some folks already have their mindset of like I'm not a good artist. They already have this judgment thing, and I can tell them that they are wrong. Like I can actually, if they were to follow along and trust the process, they will surprise themselves and see. And it's amazing what we can do when we kind of like transcend our own limitations that we somehow set on. And a lot of times people compare it to other people, and that's kind of like part of the problem. But so this is my drawing, right? Now I have to paint it. Um, so I'm gonna need like some kind of brownish for the rocks, brown, black, and then obviously green and yellow for the plant. Um, we'll get started. Then the background, I'm probably gonna do a dark background. Maybe I can do the shadow. So I'm gonna the shadow, the cast shadow. I'm gonna make it up just for fun. So the cast shadow on the base will probably, let's assume that. Okay, we're gonna assume that our sunlight's coming from this side. So then we're going to make a shadow. A cast shadow is the shadow that's on the ground or on the or wherever the object is setting. It could be the ground, the floor, the surface of the table, whatever. When you're walking and you see your own shadow on the ground, that's called a cast shadow. There's a bunch of terms for art. Um, this one's gonna be long. If the shadows are longer, that light is kind of like like the sunset, right? Like this, it's at an angle, at a lower angle. This is gonna be fun because you know what? I just thought about this. We can actually put like rocks on the shadow. It'll look pretty fun. It'll look like stained glass. I don't know if it's gonna work. If it doesn't, we'll just make it into a regular plant, I guess. Um, I don't know if I should go over with the Sharpie. I'm gonna leave it in pencil because I'm not sure if that's gonna work. The rocks. Let me put it up close to the camera. But you see the shadow? I kind of added the rocks there just because it's see through. I may leave them because they kind of work. The more I look at it, so that's gonna be the shadow. Right? I don't have that here. That shadow. I'm just like imagining like if I had a really bright light and it was really translucent and you can see some of that. Anyways, we'll see how that works. So for now, guys, I'm gonna leave this here so you can copy. the drawing, especially if you didn't have, if you were following my actual drawing. Um, so I'm gonna set up my palette, and I'm gonna try to paint as much as possible. You need yellow, green, and brown, and white, and black. If you're following exactly what I'm doing. If you have your own plan, you can make your own choice on your colors. All right, so you're gonna need like a couple of cups of water. Uh, I like to have about three, just so that your brushes are always clean. So these are my brushes. I have half an inch, um, quarter inch, and then a really small one for the details. You don't have to have the same size, but you need like a small, medium, small, and then like a smaller one. Um, all right. So so I'm gonna just go straight to the painting. So I wanted to mention that you can buy acrylic paint at the dollar store. I don't know how good it is, so I'm gonna try it out. I'm mixing a little bit of yellow and green. I want to create a yellow green. A blue, red, and yellow. Those are the three primary colors. And from those three colors, we mix them gradually and we get different colors. 50-50 yellow and red makes orange. And 50-50 yellow and blue makes green. And 50-50 red and blue makes violet. And then if you use the violet and the blue 50-50, then you have blue violet. That's an example, right? So for what I want to do, I need like a yellow green. I need this color right here. So you make that by mixing green with yellow, about 50-50. So then your green is more on the yellow side, and that's why it's called yellow, um, yellow green. Just maybe you already know this, but um, you can you can you can gradually add more of the yellow. What I'm doing here. So all the leaves are green for the most part with the little dashes of yellow, and I'll add those on. So right now we're just kind of coloring. It doesn't have to be too perfect. All right, I'm just using the acrylic paint. And then if you mix on the palette, you get this nice cool effect. Like I added a highlight of yellow and just kind of mix it on the palette itself as you're painting. Like try not to scrub and mix in there. It's just kind of keep your brush marks in the same direction and just throw in like for instance, let's say like little highlights of yellow. All right, just a few of them to illustrate the difference because the plant is not the same green all the way through, right? In fact, it's more on the like some of them are lighter and others are darker. So there you go. So we're just coloring right now, and we're using green and yellow. All right, folks. And if you chose a different plant and you're getting frustrated, don't worry. Think of shapes. Remember Picasso? Picasso just painted shapes at some point, right? With the Cubism style that he and others developed. And those folks could actually paint like realistic. but they I guess they got bored of that or wanted to do something different, and that's good to do. If you ever want to have a little fun with the Picasso, you can recreate some of his paintings, and it's good because you feel like, hey, there's look all like different perspectives. It doesn't look real, and so you're not too judgmental of yourself when you're doing something like that. It's kind of like you have freedom to create a different view on reality. Those are good exercises for the mind as well. Actually, folks, I'm using the quarter inch brush. So whatever brush you're using, that's fine. Just try to use one that's gonna give you more surface to, it's gonna help you color better, but also not go too much over the drawing. So like if this was a mural, right, I'll be using huge brushes or rollers or things like that, right? So it's just coloring. This is just coloring and nothing more than that at this point, right? And if you don't have a canvas and you're doing this on a piece of paper or cardboard, that's okay too. There are papers that are good for painting on, like cardboard paper, poster board, things like that. If you're using cardboard, you probably want to paint it white, like before. Um, well, just because the white under helps the color be a little bit bright. Because when you paint light, some of that white from underneath comes through, and that's what you see here. All right, so I actually eliminated more. Like I have about maybe more leaves on the actual plant, but I'm not worried about being too realistic. In fact, I can add some plants. Oh, and I'm gonna do that with the smaller brush actually, the smaller brush, because they're right in between the plant. There's like super tiny ones. So I'm gonna use my smaller brush and just kind of randomly make these lines. This brush is too fine and I need more paint. Okay, so just to create the illusion of like more leaves. Let's see, they usually come off the stem. This brush is too soft on the front, so I need something that doesn't move too much. Okay, let's try this. And if your brush doesn't seem like it's helping you, switch up brushes. Sometimes different brushes have different. The hairs have a different capacity, and they bend faster, or they're more brittle. Or so always be mindful of your materials too. Sometimes you may feel frustrated, and you may be using a tough like tool. Okay, so we're just gonna color the stems. So I'm gonna try to cover as much of the Sharpie that I can. At least yours shouldn't have any like black lines unless you actually drew with a Sharpie like me or something, or some, like a darker pencil or pen. But pencil is always better because you can always correct your initial drawing. But like I said, this one's more on the expressive side. Okay, let me turn this around so you can see what we have. There you go. All right. The rocks, they're kind of like white, beige, and black. So the rocks are not going to be any. You can make them color if you want. You can make them like rainbow and do something different, right? That's okay too. I'm gonna try to use this as a reference and see how it goes, right? I'm gonna go with like white, off-white, grayish, and kind of like more earth colors. And if I don't like that, I'll just switch it up and make my own. But I'm gonna try to do that. So for I'm gonna need white, a little bit of white. All right, a little bit of white, a little bit of brown, and black. Another thing I didn't mention is that the acrylic paint, make sure you don't get it on your clothes. You already know if you're painted before. If you do get it on your clothes, wash it. Otherwise, it's going to be permanent. Um, but acrylic paint is good paint. It dries pretty good, but it's permanent. All right. Yeah, actually, I gotta. I'm gonna stick with that first brush, that 1/4. Sometimes you may not need all the brushes, right? Depending on what you're doing. Let me see how it works out with this one. Oh, okay, not bad. So I'll use the bigger one just for one color. So randomly, so while I have this beige color, I'm painting random rocks. Uh, you know, then I'll switch up the color and continue the pattern. So that it kind of looks like variety of shapes. I mean colors or tones. There's a whole bunch of technical terms, and I haven't been using them lately. So if you're an art person, you probably know. Um, so black and white are not colors. A lot of folks are surprised to find out that in the arts, black and white are not colors. They're tones and shades. Shades are is the term for the darker, or the grays, and from dark to gray, and then white. Um, the colors start to get whiter, or with more mixture of white, it becomes a tone. Um, all right, that's too boring, huh? The technical part. Let's just paint. But if you're interested in that, check out a book from the library, or you can Google. It's kind of nice to know if you often talk with other artists and you want to have the same vocabulary. It helps. So just to communicate, like any other profession, right? Like if you're an engineer, then you know what you have to communicate a certain language. If you're a scientist, it's kind of the same idea. Otherwise, it's kind of like a little more challenging too. All right, the only thing I didn't bring out was my black paint. Yeah, that's what I'm missing. Well, let me add more. Oh yeah, some of the I forgot that some of the rocks are almost white, or like I added a hint of yellow, um, but yellow's too strong, so be careful. All right. Well, it's because the canvas is already white, right? So if you want, okay, let's not think about this too much. Trying to color them. Black is very if you pour a lot of black on your palette, you'll probably have a lot of it left over. Unless you're painting, like the background, then you're gonna need plenty of that. Um, all right, so I'm gonna do like some rocks are gray or dark gray. Oh yeah, this is looking really cool. I think just because there's variety, and actually leaving leaving some of the rocks um, blank works to you know it's up to you how much you want to color those rocks, but if it looks nice to you, remember you're painting for yourself. You're not painting, I mean, unless you're going to give your painting away, but still you're still painting for yourself. And so don't worry, no one's going to judge you, at least not me. And if someone judges you, don't take it personal. It's their own experience with the image and their world. But if it makes you happy, if you like it, that's the goal, right? That's the goal. If someone wants to hire you to paint something, and then you have to, kind of paint, with that in mind. But right now we're painting for fun. So we're gonna stop here, guys. Let me bring this closer, right? So here's the rocks. See, they're raw. They're not necessarily too. Um, I may just erase the shadow, and I don't know. I kind of like the white background. Now, now the more I look at it, maybe I'll probably do another one similar to this with a black background and see what, like, the two, how they play off each other. So this is it, folks. I hope you enjoy the class. Let me zoom in a little bit. Here you go. Here you go. So you can see, and see, it's not like complicated. It's just simple shapes and just little details, like leaving this two shapes white and the little triangle here and the little triangle there. You leave those white, and it creates the illusion of a glass vase. And leaving a lot of the blank spaces also gives an illusion of a clear vase. Um, there are other tricks to give the illusion of water, uh, but we won't really talk about those today. That's a little more advanced stuff. So here, let me see. Move the camera now. Bring it up. Okay. So here you go, folks. I hope you enjoy the class. I'll leave this here a little bit more so you can see and copy. You know, if you have your own plans, like I said, don't worry about how you know it's if it's not doesn't look exactly like your image. Don't worry, mine does not look exactly like my image. In fact, I'll show you the. See, mine looks a little bit darker in person. Okay, so don't worry about that too much. So I'm gonna leave the contact info there, and I'm gonna end this video in a minute or two. I'm trying to get it off the image. There you go. If you have any questions, you wanna uh, questions about the class or things like that, feel free to call. That's my contact info. Those stickers there are for donation if people, can. It's not required. That's not why we do this. Um, but when we open the gallery, we'll announce it in the in our Facebook page, and you will be able to attend. We don't have a start or opening date. I know folks are getting vaccinated, but not everybody is. Um, so I know that as a gallery, we're following the CDC guidelines, and our main goal is to continue to keep everybody safe or do our share. And that's it, folks. There's more videos. If you go to our Facebook page, there are a lot of videos. There's music videos. Follow along for beginners mostly, and there's art classes. You follow along. They're live streamed, so they're not edited. They're not gonna be like entertaining in the sense like time lapse. They're more intended to follow along. So you can play back. I mean, you can fast forward and kind of get an idea of what kind of like stop and pause and rewind and things like that, and follow along. Um, all right, folks. So I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is Efren Luna with the Cultural Alliance of Long Beach, and with art, music, and culture. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Take care of your community, and hopefully we'll see you soon. But we'll continue doing the Facebook video streams every week. Take care.